Hello, and welcome to this presentation on the effectiveness of explicit vocabulary instruction. I'm Kristy Mentzer, and this presentation is part of my work in the Reading Science program at Mount St. Joseph University. Thank you for joining me today. Vocabulary is not just one component of reading. It's a cornerstone of comprehension. According to Scarborough's reading rope, skilled reading is made up of two key strands: language comprehension and word recognition. Vocabulary falls right into the language comprehension strand, woven together with background knowledge, verbal reasoning, and language structures. These elements must be explicitly taught and tightly integrated to develop strong, proficient readers. When students don't have access to a broad and deep vocabulary, they struggle to make meaning from what they read. Even if they can decode the words on the page, comprehension breaks down if the words themselves are unfamiliar. That's why vocabulary instruction is so critical. Without it, students may be able to read fluently, but fail to understand or engage with the content. Research consistently shows that vocabulary knowledge is one of the strongest predictors of reading success. Students with rich vocabularies are more likely to comprehend complex texts, perform better across subject areas, and participate confidently in classroom discussions. So as we think about reading instruction, let's keep this in mind. Vocabulary isn't just knowing words. It's the gateway to understanding everything students read. When we teach vocabulary intentionally and explicitly, we're not just building word knowledge, we're strengthening the rope that leads to lifelong reading success. We can't rely solely on incidental exposure to build students' vocabulary, especially for struggling learners. Instead, explicit instruction bridges the gap and gives every student access to academic language. As Louisa Moats reminds us, vocabulary instruction must be planned, purposeful, and explicit. Louisa Moats also emphasizes that oral language, phonological awareness, and vocabulary are deeply connected. She advocates for instruction that is explicit, systematic, and especially supportive of students with language-based learning difficulties. Her work reminds us that strong language foundations are key to reading success. Isabel Beck introduced the tiered vocabulary framework, helping educators target their instruction more effectively. Tier 1 includes everyday words like dog or happy. Tier 2 includes high utility academic words such as contrast or fortunate. Tier 3 includes subject-specific terms like habitat or photosynthesis. Our focus should be on Tier 2 words, the words students are likely to encounter across subjects and will need for comprehension. A strong body of research supports the use of explicit vocabulary instruction. The National Reading Panel in 2000 identified explicit vocabulary instruction as essential for reading development. Coyne, McCoach, and Kapp in 2007 found that kindergartners taught vocabulary through storybook read-alouds and child-friendly definitions showed significantly stronger word knowledge than peers who only received incidental instruction. Stahl and Fairbanks, as far back as 1986, concluded that vocabulary instruction, combining definitional and contextual information, along with active student engagement, leads to meaningful gains in reading comprehension. Together, this research confirms that intentional, interactive vocabulary teaching has a powerful impact on student learning outcomes. Explicit vocabulary instruction involves directly teaching word meanings, not waiting for students to figure them out on their own. It includes student-friendly definitions, contextual examples, active engagement, and multiple exposures to each word over time. Explicit vocabulary instruction is not just helpful, it's essential for many types of learners. It's particularly impactful for early elementary students from pre-K through grade 3 who are still building foundational language and literacy skills. At this stage, strong vocabulary instruction sets the stage for future reading success. English language learners also benefit greatly. Explicit vocabulary teaching gives them the tools to access academic language, understand classroom content, and communicate more effectively. Students with developmental delays or language deficits often need more structured, repeated exposure to words. Purposeful instruction helps close those gaps and build confidence. And don't forget our struggling readers at any grade level, whether upper elementary or even high school. A strong vocabulary can unlock texts they're previously found frustrating or out of reach. The beauty of explicit instruction is that it supports all learners, regardless of where they begin. Here are the first steps to implement explicit vocabulary instruction. Step 1. Select Tier 2 words from high-quality texts. Define the words using language that is simple and clear. Step 3. Provide contextualized examples so students understand how the word is used in real situations. Step 4. Engage students in active processing through strategies like semantic maps or word associations. Step 5. Reinforce learning by providing repeated exposure in writing, speaking, reading, and listening tasks. Repetition across modalities helps cement vocabulary in students' long-term memory. Let's look at some proven engaging strategies for teaching vocabulary. Interactive read-alouds are powerful tools. During the reading, teachers pause to introduce new Tier 2 words, define them in student-friendly language, and discuss their meaning in context. This helps students connect vocabulary to real stories and experiences. Word mapping and Freyer models support deeper understanding. These visuals encourage students to explore word meanings through definitions, examples, non-examples, and related terms, promoting critical thinking. Morphology instruction, teaching prefixes, suffixes, and root words helps students decode unfamiliar words. Knowing that pre means before, for example, allows them to figure out words like preview or predict. Structured partner talk with sentence starters, like, I think this word means, gives students a chance to practice using new vocabulary in conversation, boosting both understanding and confidence. Together, these strategies make vocabulary instruction effective, engaging, and accessible for all learners. To help students truly internalize new vocabulary, it's important to make learning active, playful, and connected to real life. Try incorporating word games like Pictionary, charades, or vocabulary bingo. These fun, low-stress activities encourage students to think about word meanings, act them out, and interact with their peers, all while reinforcing their understanding. Vocabulary notebooks are another powerful tool. Students can draw pictures, write their own definitions, create example sentences, and even track the words they've mastered. These notebooks become personalized word journals that support both reflection and review. Encourage students to act out vocabulary words or draw illustrations that represent the meanings. This type of multisensory learning, combining movement, art, and language, helps cement words in long-term memory, especially for young learners, and those with language-based learning needs. Finally, design thematic units that connect vocabulary to real-world concepts, such as a unit on community helpers, animals, or the weather. When students encounter new vocabulary in meaningful context, they're more likely to remember it and use it confidently. The goal is to create experiences that make vocabulary stick, not just for a week, but for a lifetime. To make vocabulary instruction stick, we can lean on high-impact strategies grounded in cognitive science. In dual coding, pairing visuals with words to tap both verbal and visual memory. This is especially effective for ELLs, who benefit from concrete supports as they build both language and concept knowledge. Examples and non-examples help clarify meaning and reduce misunderstandings. And when students apply vocabulary in writing, speaking, and across content areas, they're more likely to retain and transfer that knowledge. These small shifts make a big difference, especially for our diverse learners. Assessing vocabulary should be ongoing and embedded throughout instruction, not just at the end of a unit. Start with a pre-assessment using quick tools like vocabulary checklists or informal conversations to gauge students' baseline knowledge. During instruction, pay close attention to how students engage with new words. Are they using them in discussions? Are they making connections? Then, for post-assessment, try exit tickets with sentence completions or ask students to generate their own examples of a word in context. Informal interviews can also provide insight into their depth of understanding. These low-stake assessments help us adjust instruction and ensure vocabulary is moving from exposure to ownership. To summarize, be intentional and explicit with your instruction. Revisit words across multiple contexts. Engage students with multimodal strategies, visuals, movement, conversation, and writing. Remember, words are the tools of thought. Teaching vocabulary is teaching thinking. To deepen your knowledge of vocabulary instruction, check out these resources. Vocabulary is a critical strand in Scarborough's reading rope. It supports comprehension and helps students make meaning across content areas. With explicit, engaging instruction, we can help students, especially those who struggle, develop deep word knowledge that sticks. Thank you for listening, and I hope this gave you some practical takeaways for your current and future classrooms.